He was thunder in silence, a lion that knelt.
And we're live.
All right, welcome back, folks. Today I'm joined once again with my dear friend Amy,
Hi.
the warriors, as I called her today,
The
warrior goddess.
If I'm a warrior,
Sounds like-
what are you?
Sounds like walrus.
Yeah, I know.
But warriors is kind of cool. Well, I could be a warrior too.
Yeah,
You know.
we're both warriors.
Yeah, we're both warriors.
Yeah.
The difference today, folks, you'll notice is one, the quality of the video. We're shooting in cinematic mode, so this is us going pro. And at the same time, it's off screen, but we can see it here. We're doing live on Amy's TikTok.
TikTok live.
You guys want to share with the audience what your TikTok is, if they want to?
Yeah, my TikTok is Amy Lynn Fournier. AMYLYNNFOURNIER. It's my full name.
There you go. So in the future, the lives will be live, and we'll be pre-recording here as you're watching. So if you ever want to come on, you can message Amy on TikTok and let her know. Ask her when our next live is, and she can tell you, and so you can prepare for it. And we'll be taking questions at some point. That'll be cool.
Yeah, we'll take questions, and we also want to hear back from you guys about what topics you'd like to hear us talk about, or if you have questions that we can address in these talks that we're doing. That would be really cool.
Exactly. So today is an interesting day because, one, I'm melting.
Yeah, I know.
I'm just like, we're wrapping up our discussion for now on pain. We've had 2 other episodes on pain where we were talking about what is pain actually, how to heal it. And in this one, we're going to summarize perhaps what we talked about and then go over some examples, some real life concrete examples of people that you may have heard of that have gone through pain, and how did they deal with it.
Yeah, and not just push it aside and move on and store it, but actually integrate it.
Exactly. So shall we jump into it?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. So let's see what we talked about on a high level in the last 2 episodes. And it's good for us too because it gives us a refresher. So we discussed how pain is a messenger and not punishment.
Yes.
Pain is the body's way of telling you that something is out of balance. Emotional pain is the soul's way of doing the same thing. In conversations with God, pain, whether it was physical, emotional, or spiritual, is not a punishment from God. It's a signal that something within you needs attention, alignment, or a change in perspective. And then the second point was pain is the fire that burns away illusion, or Maya, as they say in Sanskrit.
Yeah.
Pain results from a judgment that we hold about a thing. Remove the judgment and the pain disappears. It's so nice to reread these, right?
Yeah,
so it's like,
is
wow.
nice, bringing me back.
You can ask yourself, so much of the suffering is not from what happens, but from what we believe that it means. When we judge an experience as being bad, wrong, or unfair, we deepen the pain. We're being invited to witness the pain without judging it, and perhaps ask the following question: what is this showing me about myself, my truth, or my path? Point number 3 was pain guides you towards who you really are. Every soul came to earth to experience certain contrasts: joy and sorrow, unity and separation, ease and struggle. So pain becomes a compass that points towards greater growth, healing, and remembrance of our own divinity. So God says in the book that we were referencing earlier, Conversations with God, which is not a religious book, boys and girls, because believe me, I'm allergic to a lot of religious stuff. I don't know about you, Amy,
Yeah,
but
I am.
it's super deeply spiritual. And in there, Neil's having conversation with God, and God says, I have sent you nothing but angels. So imagine there are no victims, no villains. Everyone has been sent to you with a gift to help in your healing, to help in your journey. So even painful moments contain hidden grace, an opportunity to awaken, open, surrender, forgive, or to evolve. And I just want to take a moment to thank the people that are on Amy's TikTok live. Welcome to this live that we're doing. We're discussing pain, and you're coming at the perfect point because we're doing a summary of our last 2 episodes where we discussed healing pain essentially. So welcome. Feel free to comment, feel free to share this live with others who can benefit from it, and we're really grateful that you can join us on this day.
Yes, thank you.
So point number 4 was pain can reveal unhealed beliefs. Our beliefs create our reality, and pain shows up when a belief we carry no longer serves our soul. For example, if we hold the belief that I'm unworthy, it leads to patterns of rejection. When we hold the belief that life must be hard, it creates struggle and exhaustion. So you can ask yourself, what belief must I be holding to be experiencing this pain? Point 5 was to allow, express, and to transform. We're encouraged not to do spiritual bypassing. Instead, we're invited to full presence with the pain. Dealing with pain would mean, number 1, you acknowledge it fully, you don't suppress it, you feel it. Number 2, ask it what it wants to teach you. Treat it like a visitor with a message.
Yeah.
Number 3, bless it. This sounds radical, but ask or say, thank you, pain, for showing me what I've been unwilling to see. Number 4, shift perspective. Move from why is this happening to me to what is this calling forth from me. Number 5, choose again. Once you've received the gift, decide how you want to experience the situation going forward. And a summary affirmation could be, pain is not the end, it is the threshold. Through it, I walk into greater truth, love, and remembrance. So that would sum up episode 1. If you haven't watched it, you'll find it on my YouTube, and soon Amy will likely put it up on her YouTube. And shall we go into the second summary?
Yeah.
All right. This is so nice to be able to review this because as we're sharing with you folks, it's a reminder to us.
It is.
Right?
It's not like we've mastered
No,
this.
not at all.
we're just sharing and having this discussion so that we can help each other and help hopefully other people as well, like to look into it and see it in this way and kind of help heal it. So we're working on this as well.
Exactly. Now it's like I'm looking at you, I'm looking at your TikTok,
Yeah,
and I'm looking at the camera. I'm like,
we're with so many people. Right?
so many people. We have,
different,
now you know what it feels like to be Oprah. kind of, not really. We brought up Oprah, I think, on the last episode. That was really interesting, right?
Yeah.
Shall we go into the summary of 2 and then we can jump into the examples?
Yes.
So we talked about pain being a resistance to your inner being. Negative emotion is simply the indication that your thought is going against what your inner being knows. All right? That's worth repeating. Negative emotion is simply the indication that your thought is going against what your inner being knows. So it's all right. It's not going to bite me, hopefully. So if you guys don't know, Amy and I are big fans of Abraham Hicks.
Yeah.
And in Abraham's teachings, pain, emotional or physical, is a sign that you are out of alignment with your true self, your inner being, which is pure love, well-being, and expansion. The second point we discussed in the last episode was pain is guidance, not punishment. We talked about this just earlier. Abraham says all emotion is guidance for your inner being, just like it's mentioned in Conversation with God. Pain shows up when you're thinking thoughts or taking actions that contradict your soul's knowing.
Yeah.
It's like a GPS rerouting you. It's telling you you're off course. Turn here towards alignment, love, and ease. Point 3 was that physical pain is slower energy caught in resistance. Pain is the physical indicator of vibrational resistance. Physical pain often results from prolonged emotional resistance. The body is a translator of energy, and when emotional disease goes unaddressed, it can manifest as physical dis-ease. But even then, it's not a failure, it's feedback.
Right.
And it can be shifted. Point 4 was that we should not fight the pain. Rather, we should soften around the pain. Abraham recommends not pushing against pain or trying to, quote unquote, get rid of it. That only amplifies the resistance. Instead, soften your thoughts, find relief, reach for a slightly better feeling thought, focus on what feels just a little more peaceful. And for some folks, that might be anger. That might be, and that gets you out of hopelessness, for example, right? If you look at Abraham's emotional scale, right? You can't just jump from hopelessness to bliss, right? Like maybe in other dimensions you can, but on this earth realm, we have to move through the scale. And so that shows us that anger is not a bad thing. It's just a process we have to go through to get to better feeling emotions. So you can't go from despair to joy in one leap, Abraham says, but you can go from despair to anger, from anger to frustration, and from frustration to hope. That emotional climb is the healing, folks. Number 5, how to deal with pain, Abraham style. Number 1, acknowledge the pain. It's real, don't suppress it. Number 2, bless the pain. It's a guidance from your inner being. Number 3, soften your focus. Think about something that feels a little better. Now, a lot of this might sound repetitious to what we talked about earlier in episode 1. That's because episode 1 was knowledge we got from conversation with God. And we notice now that Abraham talks a lot about the same things, just in a different lingo.
Yeah, right? Exactly.
Which is reassuring, right? Because it's like, oh, it makes sense. It's like a convergence of divine knowledge coming together, right?
Yeah, at the core, it's the same.
Exactly.
Right? Yeah.
So number 3 was to soften your focus. Think about something that feels a little better. And number 4 would be move up the emotional scale. Don't rush to joy, find relief first. If you guys don't know the emotional scale, Google it. Otherwise, message myself or Amy and we'll send it to you. But it's a great tool to see where you're at and how to improve your emotions and your feelings. Number 5 would be reconnect with well-being. The moment you release resistance, healing begins. And then point 6, we talked about you were never meant to suffer. You came into this life for joy, for expansion, and for freedom. Pain is not part of your original blueprint. Abraham says that you are a vibrational being, and when your vibration matches love, ease, and appreciation, guess what? You thrive. Pain is just the contrast that reminds you to return to that natural state. So how would you reframe pain according to Abraham? Well, number 1, pain doesn't mean something's gone wrong, right? So key. Number 2, pain means you're being lovingly nudged back to your truth. Number 3, even chronic conditions can shift when your point of attraction changes. And so, folks, that is the summary of the last 2 episodes on pain. Amy, would you like to add anything before we get into examples?
Just to reiterate that pain isn't bad. It's not like, you feel pain, so you're off your path. It's almost like, pain is part of the journey. It's part of who we are, where we came here to feel and experience different emotions and feelings. And I think moving forward as a collective, we're shifting in the way that we've come from a place that we've completely avoided our emotional sensations and that guidance system. And in order to move forward, to be more in tune with that, we need to start looking at those feelings and going into them to move through them instead of suppressing them and being disconnected with ourselves and with everyone else. So going into our pain and connecting with each other in that pain is going to allow us to actually form deeper connections and heal through that, instead of being avoidant and I keep saying disconnected, but what's another word for it? Like
so holding resistance.
Yeah, just it kind of
unplugged.
Unplugged,
like
unplugged
Abraham
from
says.
source, unplugged from who we really are.
Yeah.
I think pain is actually can be the like a connection point.
Absolutely, absolutely. It's like what the great poet Rumi has said, something to the effect that pain or the wound is where the light enters.
Yes.
So you could look at the wound as being, you know, emotional, physical, and either way, it's like you said, the connection point.
Yeah.
You know, it's like everything has two sides to it, right?
Yeah.
You can look at pain as, oh my God, what a curse.
Yeah.
You know, or you know, this is so terrible. Or you could be like, hey, what is this trying to tell me?
Yeah, and an example for me personally was that I always used to hide my pain from everybody. I used to want to put on a good face and be happy all the time for everybody, so that they see I'm good, I'm okay. And if I were feeling pain or upset in any way, like I would make sure that I'd go be alone and do that, and then put on a face. But at the end of the day, I always felt kind of like alone. And I didn't realize that that was part of the reason why I felt alone.
That is such an important point that I feel you've hit upon, Amy, because you know, I find a lot of people putting on faces, and not to judge them, because I've been that, and sometimes I can still be that.
Yeah,
and,
same. I still
right?
do it. Yeah.
And at the same time, I feel like as we're growing and as we're awakening, we're doing less and less of that, because it doesn't serve us anymore.
Yeah, exactly.
Is that fair to say?
Yeah.
But I think it's important to state that a lot of people put on masks, put on a facade, just because they don't know of another way of being, and they don't understand that there are other ways of being and other perspectives that can find them relief from the experience of life and its emotional contrast, you know, like negative contrasts like pain, suffering, jealousy, hatred, anger, rage, any of those emotions that make us feel less than, that knowing that they serve a purpose, and then finding out what purpose do they serve, and what can we learn from them, and how can we move through them and beyond them to get to the positive side of the emotional scale.
Yeah, and I think that you know, there's a deep belief within pain that kind of says I can't be loved here.
Wow. Say that again. That's really good.
There's a deep belief within pain that says that I can't be loved here.
That's really beautiful. And folks, for you guys who are listening on TikTok, thank you again for joining in on Amy's TikTok. Let us know how the sound is. Just comment so that we know that you can hear us fine. Otherwise, we'll project a little bit more.
Yeah.
Maybe in the future we'll add another mic.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Right? We'll add a second mic now that we're going pro. In our minds. Thanks, Grandma, for tuning in. Thank you, Dad. Come back, Dad. Why'd you leave? No, I'm just kidding. That's probably my side. You know, it's so funny because on my YouTube, I have over 1,000 subscribers, but not everyone watches at the same time. But I can always count on my dad watching my video the same day or the next day.
I love it.
And then he'll make a comment on my YouTube channel that is meant just for me.
Yeah.
But now the world knows it.
Yeah.
He's like, Dad was very good, beta. You should be good friends with that man. I'm like, Dad,
That's so cute.
that's a private conversation. Don't say anything more. But yeah, parents are awesome, you know, and you know, your family's been super supportive of these lives, and I love that. So shall we dive in to examples of pain?
Yeah.
All right. So yeah, on TikTok, if you're on TikTok and you have a question, feel free to pose it, because you guys are live and we'll be happy to do our best to answer your question. I feel like Amy in her own right is an amazing woman and healer and guide. And when we come together, I feel that there's like a, you know, like a synergistic effect that we're able to bring the yin and yang, the feminine and masculine together, and basically bounce off each other and go deeply at a issue and kind of come at it from different angles.
Yeah,
right?
I think so too. It feels really good.
Yeah, it feels really
natural.
good. So yeah, all right, we'll keep looking at the TikTok to see if there's any questions that come up, but in the meanwhile, we're gonna go into examples. So I have for you a couple of examples of some famous people that have been dealing with pain and how they dealt with it. The first example is Frida Kahlo, right? How many of you folks have heard of Frida? Comment below. Frida, we're gonna wait just a moment because there is an airline. I was gonna say some people are headed on vacation without us. No, you know, it's funny because sometimes my partner and I, we see a plane flying by and she's like, I wonder where they're going.
I always
you
do that too, yes.
Oh my God. So, you know, one of our loves is Mexico, and so we're always like, okay, you know, when are we going to Mexico next? And it's amazing because it's not like Mexico, when we go there, we don't stay at no super luxurious resort, although we've done that before. We prefer staying at hostels, you know, without going on a tangent. But if you guys want to hear about travel, Amy's done her share of travel, I've done some of mine, and we could talk about travel and how travel has changed for us, and we can give you tips on how to travel smart and you know, some of our favorite places to travel. We could also touch on that on another episode if you folks want to hear that. But for now, we're back to pain.
Yeah.
So we were talking about Frida, right? So Frida turned physical pain into art, right? If I was to summarize it. The pain that she had, she suffered from polio as a child. And then she had a horrific bus accident at 18 years old that left her with a broken spine, pelvis, and lifelong chronic pain. Can you imagine? Holy. How she dealt with it? Well, she turned her physical and emotional agony into surrealist art. For example, if you look up The Broken Column or Without Hope, these pieces of art became very famous. She used her self-portraits to reclaim her body, her trauma, and her dignity. She said, I am not sick, I am broken, but I am happy to be alive as long as I can paint. So that was her perspective. Imagine having all those issues and then saying, hey, I'm not just gonna victimize, you know, and she'd be justified to be like, hey, I'm just gonna lie in bed and sulk. And I wouldn't blame her because I know when I go through pain, it's probably not even like an ounce of what she's been through. I was gonna say I'm a little bitch. Sorry folks,
well,
we swear on this sometimes.
Women have been known to handle pain a little bit better.
I don't mean a woman, you know, that's the thing. This is the problem, right? And this is what I don't like about our, you know, the urban words that we use this day and age, you know, like even when someone calls somebody, for example, excuse my French, a pussy, I'm just like, a pussy is one of the strongest things. Where do you think you were born from?
Where do you think you were born from? That's
do you think you can carry a baby for 9 months? Motherfucker. Probably not. I know I can't. I mean, I'll carry a baby for like 1 minute. I'll be like, holy shit, my back hurts. I can't take this anymore. I look fat. You carry the baby. And maybe that's why I chose to be a man in this lifetime. I'm just like, you know what? I just choose to stand up and pee, and I don't want to carry a baby. And you know what? Those menstrual cramps are motherfuckers. I'll pass on this lifetime.
I mean, pain is energy, right? So I think it's just the way we judge it too that determines what we get from it, or how it comes out of us, or how we express it. So I think even though, you know, we can feel pain, we can choose how we're going to use that energy, and how we're going to let it affect us, how we're going to express it. And I feel like that is healing. I mean, in art and expressing it, or in any way that you express your pain, can be healing, just depending on what we're doing with it. Right?
And speaking of art, I saw some of your art. Oh my God. Can you share some of the stuff that you do as an expression of art, like your quilting, your painting? Maybe share with the audience.
So
and how does that help you?
I do painting. I have like different ways that I like to do art, and all of them are very different. Like for painting, I like to be a little bit more meticulous. I like to do landscapes or like portraits of pets and things like that. But then I do dyeing, and I love the dyeing process because it's so random. Like, I mean, as much as you try to put a pattern down, like I do natural dyes with plants and things, and you can do prints. And anyway, with dyeing, it's very, you can plan it, but either way, it's going to come out in its own way. And that's what I love about it too. So I like different things, being able to be more meticulous, and then I like being surprised by the art in different ways too. And for me, it's, I don't know if my art has ever been an expression of my pain, but it's more of an I get into a zone, and it's like it allows me to just be in the moment, and it kind of just takes over. And I do these really big quilts, and it's like when I get in the zone, it's like I look at it after, I'm like, did I do that even? Like,
I know the feeling.
What? Like, how did this happen? Where was I? Where have I been?
Can you share with the audience the example you gave when your grandma passed away, and what you made, and what beautiful revelation came out of it? Talking about, you know, transforming pain.
My grandma's roses.
Or the butterfly.
The butterfly. Yes. Right. So
listen to this.
Oh my gosh.
Folks. Great story.
Yeah. So my beautiful aunt and uncle asked me to make them some items, which is so beautiful. And one of the items was a kimono, like a shawl cover up, and I sewed it. I used my late grandmother's roses to make the pattern on it. And beforehand, you know, we said that our symbol for my grandmother was going to be butterflies. We just knew, like, that was her for us. And I made, like, I had no intention of making any specific prints, but I was laying down the flowers on this garment, and I roll it up, I steam it so that the dye sets. I unroll it, and there's a perfect butterfly on the arm. And I just, like, chills came over me, and it's like, I couldn't even, if I tried to make a butterfly, I couldn't do it. Like, it's just not how it works, you know? And yeah, it was really beautiful, and it was beautiful to have that symbol of her on the garment to give to my aunt, and like, it was just really, really beautiful.
You know what just occurred for me, Amy, in you sharing this story, and also reflecting on Frida's life, is that when we take pain or loss or any of those kind of like challenging experiences in life, and we do what we love, what we enjoy, what we thrive in, and what we're doing, it's like all time stops, you know, like stand still, and it's like you just enjoy, right?
It's very healing.
Magic happens. You know, for lack of a better word, it's like, how beautiful is that? How do you describe that? You know, like, just, but the feeling that you got to experience in your family as a result of that, it's like, wow, you know, maybe grandma's, you know, part of this.
She is, right? 100% she is.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah, and I feel like feeling that joy and feeling her love is the healing part, right? Like, we can grieve somebody and feel pain for the loss of them, but also remember that the feeling them and feeling the joy about them isn't, I don't know, sometimes we feel like, oh, we shouldn't move on so quickly, or, oh no, like, is it bad? Like, I should be sad. No.
Yeah,
like,
the guilt and the shame.
The joy is where we want, is how we connect to. So that is really, really healing. Yeah.
Beautiful, beautiful. And while we're on that, I think it's worth mentioning that, you know, there's so many ways to access your joy, right? For everyone, it may be slightly different or quite different. For us, for example, we love to dance. We're dancers. We like to dance bachata or other Latin dances, and it's an expression of our joy. It's an expression of our being alive, and it feels amazing. And I know for myself and for many others that when we're dancing, we lose track of time. You know, we're not worried about our bills. We're not worried about who we're pissed off at or who's pissed off at us.
No.
We're just enjoying. We're in the moment. We're connected. You know, we become part of the music. And, you know, and especially for you, Amy, because you actually perform on stage. You do, you know, in front of thousands of people, and you do it over and over again. You practice like several times a day, and now you're about to go international. You're going to the U.S. soon. That's so exciting.
Cool. It is really cool opportunity for me. Yeah. Thanks.
Yeah.
Thanks for mentioning that.
Yeah, you're welcome, Amy. I mean, this is all beautiful things in your journey because I feel like 2025 is a real opening for many of us, and for you, if I may share this, is like I feel like this year is a catapulting year for me.
I think so too.
And I think you're feeling it already.
I do. Yeah, right? I totally do.
And I think that's a great term, because that's how I see you. I see you catapulting, because it's almost like your last couple of years, you felt like, okay, I know I can be more, but it was just like, you know how a rubber band comes back?
Yeah.
And then you just let it go?
Yeah.
So this is the letting go part,
yeah.
right? And you're just flying in the air now.
Yeah.
Now you're going to the US, you're going to be performing there, your photos and videos are everywhere on social media, and now you're doing lives, and you're on YouTube, and it's about time, because you know, I've known you for some time now, and I'm just like, wow, Amy's one of those rare people that wow, I love it when butterflies come around. Last time we had a dog come and join us. How wonderful was that?
Yeah, perfect example of joy and healing right there.
Yeah, so what I was sharing is that you know, it's so nice to see you, Amy, that you're coming out of your you know, in a sense, of your shell.
My cancer shell.
Your cancer shell. Yes. Not that she has cancer, God forbid. It's
the
horoscope.
The horoscope, guys.
Let's not.
Yeah, sorry.
They're like, oh my God, Amy has cancer.
You know what? Moonchild is a better way. I should have just said crab shell.
Crab shell. Yeah, yeah, it's okay. People get it. People are smart.
But it's interesting that you say that about the rubber band, because relating this to my own experience, and you're saying like you're seeing me catapult, because I feel that, you know, in my own experience, and maybe, you know, many others can relate to this, but you get a little bit addicted to the negative thoughts, and also the self-doubt and the hurt and the pain that comes along with all that. And I feel like for me, when I let myself actually feel joy in those places that used to hold me back a lot, it's kind of like you actually have to transmute it in order to let yourself grow or catapult further, because it is a comfort zone. It's comfortable to keep thinking like, oh, but who's gonna care about what I say if I come on here? Or like, so many people know all these things better than I do. Why should I even try? Like, oh, there's so much competition out there. There's so many people doing podcasts. There's so many people dancing. There's so many people doing art. What's the point?
Right.
So it's easy and comfortable to kind of just sit back and be like, oh, I'll just, you know, whatever. I couldn't be anything more anyways, and there's no point. So, you know, and there's pain that comes along with that. Maybe you're not aware of it, but it is an addiction. Yeah. Because it's safe and it's comfortable. Yeah. Because when you actually let yourself feel joy or held or safe in those places, it's a little scary.
Yeah, for sure.
Because it's the unknown. It's like, oh, I've never been at ease before doing something that I'm vulnerable in and sharing myself, and that can be really scary. Right.
And guess what? That's where growth takes place.
Yeah.
You know, in the areas where you're feeling uncomfortable, in the areas where you're delving into the unknown, that's where you're going to grow the most.
Yeah.
If you keep doing what you're doing and expect a different results, that's what's called insanity.
Yes.
Right? And when we listen to the committee in our mind, I call it the itty bitty shitty committee, because it's never saying anything positive. It's like, you're not good enough, you're too old, you're too young, you're too fat, you're too this, you're too that, you're not ready, you're da-da-da, what are people gonna think, what is your grandma gonna think, da-da-da-da. Well, my grandma's passed on, but you know, it could be any of those things. If you guys can relate, you know, that's your itty bitty shitty committee speaking out. And as my coaches used to say, don't go into that neighborhood alone. It's a bad neighborhood, and that's the neighborhood of the mind, right? The mind is, and we discussed this in previous episodes, it's always either keeping you in the past or taking you into the future, but it's keeping you from the present. And the present is where all the magic is happening.
Literally everything happens in the present, but if you're thinking about the past or the future, you're not letting in what could be of them right now.
Yes.
You know, because the world has so much to show you. So if you're able to actually sit back and let it come in, then, you know, so many possibilities can come up. But your thoughts about yourself have to be proved wrong. So if you're not ready for that, then you want to be right about yourself, then there's no room for growth in that.
Yes, yes. You have to be willing to accept that maybe you don't have all the answers consciously.
Well, I mean, by being wrong, like, you know, I'm not good enough.
I'm not good
Right?
enough. I'm not
You
worthy.
have to be wrong. You're gonna be wrong about that if
Yeah.
you let yourself succeed. So
Yeah.
is it, do you want to be right, or do you want to be wrong and actually let the universe show you
And
how good it could be?
I'm so sorry.
Hmm?
And another way to put that is that, okay, are your thoughts of that subject matter causing you to feel negative emotion, right? Are you feeling less than? Are you feeling unworthy? Are you feeling hopeless? Are you feeling sad, depressed, jealous, or any of those negative emotions? Then it's just an indication that you're focusing on the wrong side of the stick, right? Imagine, it's like Oprah has so many great quotes, and I love her inspiration that she gives to the world. One of the things she says, one of the best things about being in the bottom or being, on ground level and you're looking up is that the only way to go is up. So you can see it as, oh my God, I've hit rock bottom, or you could be like, hey, the only way to go is up, So both of them will have different vibration points, set points for attraction. If you focus on the one that doesn't feel good, then you're attracting more things that will not feel good.
Yeah.
Right? Whereas if you focus on something more positive, more uplifting, that feels even a little bit better, then you're starting to slowly shift your emotions into a more positive place where you'll be attracting the things you actually want in life rather than the unwanted.
Yeah, exactly. And I think in order to focus on the positive, you do have to acknowledge the negative emotion. Because, I mean, it's only a negative emotion if you judge it as negative. Because for some time, if I'm thinking about something I really want, I'll feel like an ache in my chest really deep. I'm like, what is that?
Yeah.
And then a lot of the time it is subconscious thoughts. Like, you're not walking around thinking maybe these certain things, but if you really go into and notice, whoa, what is that hurting? Why am I hurting when I think about something I really want? Does a part of me feel like I shouldn't have that? Why does it hurt?
Right.
And then actually look at it and go into it and let yourself feel it. Be allowed to feel it. If you keep thinking, oh, this is bad, I shouldn't feel this way, I should be doing this, then you're only perpetuating that feeling, and the resistance toward it is going to keep it there.
Exactly. And one point I think worth stating for those listening is that when we say right and wrong, we don't mean like ultimately what's right or wrong, or morally speaking. We mean like what works and what doesn't.
Yeah.
Right? Wrong would be, okay, something that is not serving you, that's not feeling good, that's causing more pain, causing more suffering, quote unquote. And right in this context would mean something that feels better, something that brings you into positive emotion.
Exactly. And like something that's right for someone could be wrong for someone else. So you have to take it as what's for you, and that's also a scary part, is having to break away from the pack and find out who you really are and what is right and wrong for you and your path.
Correct. Yeah, well said. Well said. I think that is a whole discussion on its own, where it's like, okay, breaking away from the pack. And in fact, that's where you're going to find your true peace and your true superpower, is when you do decide to break away from the pack and you're like, okay, I'm not going to, that the herd mentality has not been serving me. And I feel like I'm meant for something more. And maybe I need to take time to meditate. Maybe I need to take time to be in nature. Maybe I need to take time to go into, silence for some time, or eat better, or go vegetarian or vegan for some time, whatever that may be for you. But Amy and I know we've been through different paths of doing these things, just to, not just to break away from the pack, but to listen and to hear our inner guidance more clearly.
Yes, because I feel like when we're not listening, we are causing ourselves pain.
For sure. That's a beautiful point.
Yeah.
When we're not listening, we're causing ourselves pain. And that's exactly what negative emotion is. It's an indicator that we're not listening, that we're not connected to the source that is always there for us.
Yeah. And because, we've been brought up to kind of in a collective, like, this is what's right and wrong for everybody. And then we become numb to our own senses, so we go along with it, not even knowing that it's causing us pain.
Correct.
So we kind of have to wake up a little to ourselves and tune in so that we can say, is this right for me? Like, is this really what I want to do? And a lot of people suffer from like chronic fatigue, pain in their body, you know, bad posture, like sadness, depression, all these things. But it's like, you know, I think that a lot of it comes from just not listening to who we really are inside, what we really want, thinking that, no, this is the only way. I have to get a 9-to-5 job. I have to do this. I have to do it this way or else. And, oh, well, that's just the way life is. Like, no, and your soul doesn't believe that.
And that's why you're not feeling the joy, is because you're resisting what your soul wants. If you're feeling anxiety, if you're feeling frustration, depression, sadness, misery, whatever you're feeling, it's because you're not listening to your soul. And I mean that with love, because really I'm speaking to myself.
Same. Yeah.
You know, so
I go through periods of
we're
all
not
that
here
too.
professing that we've solved everything and we're you know, we're in nirvana, we're in the enlightened ones.
No.
We all are one. We all have access to the same knowledge. It's just that we've experienced certain things that we want to share with you guys, because some of which you may already know, and for some of you it might be like an epiphany that, wow, I didn't know this could be a way of seeing things that can actually help me.
Yeah, and that's the idea. I mean, is to just keep growing and keep finding new ways that we can expand, and as we feel these pains or discomfort, or, you know, we're just we're noticing it and trying to see how can we grow from this, instead of being stuck in it and letting it take over.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And I'll take this moment again. Thank you to the TikTok live people that are chiming in here on Amy's channel. If you have questions, feel free to pose them. Where it's all about pain today, not being in pain, but helping to identify what pain means, how to relieve it, and concrete examples of what, you know, pain has been for some famous people and how they've dealt with it, and insights that Amy and I may come up that we're sharing with you guys. So if you have questions on pain, hit us up if you're on the live, and if you're watching the YouTube video, please comment. And shall we go into our second example?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. Number 2, Nelson Mandela. All right, Nelson Mandela, he transformed injustice into forgiveness. All right, and what pain did he have? He was imprisoned for 27 years under apartheid, separated from family, tortured, and publicly vilified. Well, how did he deal with all this? He practiced forgiveness and saw prison as a place of spiritual refinement. He chose reconciliation over revenge upon release. And one of his famous quotes is, "As I walked out the door towards my freedom, I knew that if I didn't leave my bitterness and hatred behind, I'd still be in prison." Oh, I just got chills.
Oh my God.
How deep is that?
Yeah.
Wow, I love Nelson
Prison
Mandela.
is totally here.
Yes, we are prisoners of our own mind, folks. You know, wow, Amy, you want to share what came up for you? And
yeah, well, I mean, actually, when I did a lot of my healing with my coach is Lee and Sherry. It was me finding out the girl inside of my own prison, and I was the gatekeeper.
Amazing.
And it was just like, yeah, it was really profound.
Wow. So imagine that you had all this pain, but you didn't understand that you actually held the key, and you're the gatekeeper. You're the prison guard. You are the holder of the prison, and you're the one keeping the prisoner captive, and you're the prisoner as well.
Yeah.
What a realization, girl.
Yeah.
So so previously, is it fair to say maybe you felt like you may sometimes felt like you're a victim?
Yeah.
That why is this happening to me? You know, like maybe I deserve this, and all kinds of like thoughts that you may have had.
I deserve this, and I don't really know why, but I'll come up with any answer to prove that I deserve it.
Maybe I'm unworthy, maybe it's because I did this to someone or that to someone. But then after this realization, how did that shift things for you? And did you find relief?
It's almost like in that moment, I mean, there's many moments of that too. It wasn't just one, because there's layers of this. But it's almost like a relief and deep sadness at the same time, because you realize that you you have the key, but then you don't trust yourself because you've been locking yourself in there for that long. So it's like, oh, are you just going to keep doing that? When is it going to stop? How do I know when it's going on, since this was something I wasn't even aware that I was doing? How do I know I'm not doing it in any other areas? And maybe I am still. I probably am, for sure. But yeah, it's almost like when you actually make that contact with yourself inside and realize it, there is almost like a floodgate opening of like every feeling, but also it allows a lot to move through so that you can be open to more joy, essentially, in the overall.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
And I think one of the things that came up from this example is forgiveness. Wow.
Yeah,
What
having
a
to
big
forgive
word.
the gatekeeper.
Yeah,
Because
forgive yourself, to have compassion.
Because if you're not going to forgive that person who kept you trapped forever, then you're still, exactly like what you said, you're still in prison.
Yeah.
So you have to make the choice. Am I going to carry this?
Yeah. So forgiveness for me has been very huge too, because, you know, in life you go through things, relationships that you've had, and in the past maybe I was like, you know, this person did this to me, and I've held like the thoughts of, you know, anger, animosity, and, you know, frustration, all kinds of negative emotions about certain people. And when I was at the Vipassana retreat for 10 days, when we were in silent and just meditating 6 to 11 hours a day, there was a point where I started to feel forgiveness, compassion, empathy for the people that triggered me the most. And by the last 2 days, I was sending them forgiveness, compassion, and sharing my peace from within myself with them, like so happily that I was in tears.
And what got you to that point, do you think, that you were forgiving them?
One, realizing that I was poisoning myself the more I was harboring those negative emotions against other people. And also that it just became a natural conclusion, if you will, to my negative relationship with these people in my mind, in my body. And I say in my mind, my body, because, you know, something happens to us and we keep thinking about it. It happened maybe a year ago, maybe 10 years ago, maybe when you were a child, maybe in another lifetime. But guess what? That motherfucker, you know, did this to me. You know what I mean? And not to discount that, okay, you know, like, bad shit happens, and, you know, people do need to be accountable for it. But guess what? What I'm learning is that I don't have to worry about that. Let karma deal with that.
Yeah.
What goes around comes around, and if we allow karma to catch up to them, it will catch up to them. Maybe not as fast as we want it to, like, but it's okay. They're on their journey, and maybe they're giving us a gift, right? And we don't realize it.
Well, what I'm getting is that, so those situations, any situations, is gonna bring up something that's in you, right? So if you can relate what you felt for those people to a time you felt that before, when did that part of you ever get to be loved? Not even them, but like the feeling that comes up in you when you think about what they did to you. That feeling in you is a boy who was feeling that at some point and never got loved there.
Amy, thank you for bringing that up. Because while I was at that retreat, there was a gentleman that I was sharing the retreat with, and that's what kept coming up for him. You know, they had him in the corner of the meditation hall whenever we were doing group meditations, and for him, it reminded him of when he was back in French school. And guess what? The punishment would go in the corner.
So he's probably triggered the whole
So he's triggered
time.
by that.
Yeah.
And, you know, when he's trying to help somebody, they're like, I don't need your help, and you should be quiet and don't tell me what to do. And he gets triggered again, you know, because it's like, what the F, I'm trying to help you.
Yeah.
So, you know, inner child wounds keep resurfacing in different ways, and I'm glad you brought that up. Maybe if you guys want, we can do a whole episode on healing the inner child and what causes those wounds, and maybe there's wounds that you don't even realize consciously what they are, but they're ruling your life in suboptimal ways. Like you could be living a much more optimal life, but you don't realize that. Right? Not knowing what you don't know, basically. Shall we go into the third example?
Yeah.
All right. because these podcasts, they can drag on.
Yeah.
And I mean, we talk about stuff that you and I can talk on forever.
Yeah.
But here's another great example of pain and how someone overcame it. Have you heard of a guy named Viktor Frankl?
No.
So he wrote a great book about the Holocaust. He was the survivor of the Holocaust, and he basically, what he did was he found meaning in his experience of the Holocaust. And his pain was that he lost his wife, his parents, and brother in the Nazi death camps. How he dealt with it, he observed that those who found meaning in suffering were more likely to survive. So for him, it was like, how am I going to survive this?
Yeah.
Right? Imagine the Germans are doing all sorts of crazy experiments on you that are inhumane and, you know, barbaric, and you've made up your mind that somehow I need to survive this. He wrote Man's Search for Meaning. It's a very famous book, which birthed logotherapy, a healing method based on finding purpose. Right? His quote was, "When we are no longer able to change a situation, we are challenged to change ourselves." Wow, I'm going to repeat that.
Yeah.
When we are no longer able to change a situation, we are challenged to change ourselves. Thank you, Viktor Frankl, for your life. Wow.
Yeah.
And this example.
And what comes up for me with that is deep acceptance. Because, you know, you're presented with a situation and you can't change it, you can't get out of it, and it's you have to accept it the way it is, and then you can move forward in yourself. Okay, how am I going to move forward now? Because if you don't accept, you know, then it's you're in that prison, right?
Yes. And Amy, I don't know why, but for me, it reminds me of what's going on in the world right now, for example, in Gaza, where it's like a holocaust of millions of people happening. And I don't say Holocaust lightly, because isn't it an interesting irony that the same people that were persecuted in Nazi Germany are now causing a Holocaust? And I'm not saying all Jews, but the Zionist Jews that are involved in this, you know, genocide, are willing to kill off an entire population, men, women, and children, and with almost no remorse. And, you know, just as what we're talking about here is shifting of our perspective, right? Maybe for those people right now, they feel very helpless. You know, even the people in Congo right now that are going through suffering, people anywhere in the world that are going through suffering, they may be feeling helpless. But if we take Viktor Frankl's example during the Holocaust, we could be like, okay, maybe I can't change my outer environment, but maybe there's something inside of me that I can change. That will, one, allow me to survive, right? And maybe even have a experience of thriving in spite and despite of what's going on.
And it seems that when you find, okay, you have an acceptance, okay, this is the way it is, and then you create a purpose. Okay, how am I going to survive? Why do I need to survive? What do I need? Then the change comes, right? With that.
Yeah.
It's almost as if knowing the purpose creates the change.
Yes. Guys, forgive us for the background noise. There is some construction going on in some homes behind us. Hopefully it's not going to be too overbearing, but they stop from time to time. Shall we go into the next example?
Yes.
All right. So the next example is none other than Lady Gaga. She's an advocacy. Her theme is advocacy through trauma. What was her pain? What is her pain? She has chronic pain from fibromyalgia, sexual assault at the age of 19. How she dealt with it? She became an outspoken mental health and trauma awareness advocate. Good for you, Lady Gaga.
Yeah.
Used her fame to raise visibility for others in pain. And one of her famous quotes is, "Turning pain into purpose is so important. I've been through it, and people need to know they're not alone."
Again, she put purpose into pain, but she also needs to be vulnerable in order to do that. So being vulnerable allows you to open up to that pain and be in it, and also let you be connected in it. And that's healing.
Yes. You might want to let them know that you're still there. Sorry guys, we're just taking a little break to you have to take the puzzle and put it there. Yeah, now TikTok will know that you're still alive and you're not a robot. We're back, folks. And again, if you're watching us on Amy's TikTok, forgive the noise in the background. Let us know if you can hear us clearly, number one. And number two, if you have questions about pain, drop them in the comments so that we can hopefully help answer them from our perspective.
Yes.
So yes, you were saying about Lady Gaga.
Yeah, like being able to share that with everyone is being vulnerable. And if you're not vulnerable, then how will anyone connect to you in that pain? How can you heal it? And how can you grow? And how can you find purpose? So I think that's a big key thing that, you know, a lot of these people were able to do, because sharing is being vulnerable.
Yeah, and I feel like being vulnerable is a superpower that a lot of people don't realize.
Yeah.
Especially I can say for us men, because women are known to emote, are known to share, are known to discuss, you know, their issues and their problems more openly. Whereas most men, in my experience, myself included, have the tendency to keep it locked within us, you know, for whatever reason. It could be social conditioning, upbringing, whatever. Maybe even just the way that we are as men. We think that, okay, we're not supposed to talk about our pain or our sadness, but being vulnerable is a superpower, because one, you are able to address what suffering you may be experiencing, and at the same time you're able to help release that. But also, when you're sharing the vulnerability, you're giving another person that's listening the okay that, okay, if this person is being vulnerable, maybe it's okay for me to be vulnerable.
Yeah, and the only, okay, I have two things. When you open up and you're vulnerable, you're actually telling the universe, like, I'm okay with me here. Like, you're what is it? It's like you're saying, you're opening to the world, you're opening to possibility rather than shutting yourself out and hiding. So, and I think true healing comes from being vulnerable and connecting with someone in that. You know, we don't have to do this alone, and I don't know how far we can get alone.
I don't think we are meant to be completely alone.
No.
Although, you know, there's benefits of that. Obviously, we talked about meditation and
there's
and
different benefits, but healing and connection, and healing in pain, I feel like, you know, we need to be vulnerable in order to prove to ourselves, you know, I am lovable here. That if you're vulnerable, you're telling the universe, I can be loved here, because you're doing that for yourself by being vulnerable. And even if you don't get the reaction that you want or expect out of sharing something with somebody, that's okay. You don't have to get that from someone else. Just by being vulnerable and opening and sharing yourself, you're doing that for you, and essentially that's what you need, and you will get that back, and you can give it to yourself by just feeling it.
Beautifully put. Beautifully put. Shall we go on to the next one?
Yeah.
All right. So the last example is of a gentleman by the name of Angelou, and the theme for him was the voice born from silence. His pain was that he was raped. I don't know if it was a he. Oh, it's a she. Sorry.
Oh yeah.
She was raped as a child.
Poet.
Yeah. I actually don't know who she is, but now I am not finding out.
Poet. Yeah, she's a beautiful poet. I don't know too much about her.
So Maya Angelou, if you guys know her, comment below. Let us know. She was raped as a child, went mute for years after the trauma. Can you imagine? My God. How she dealt with it, she found her voice in poetry, writing, and performance. She wrote, I know why the caged bird sings, giving voice to millions of others who have been silenced. And a famous quote of hers about this is, there's no greater agony than bearing an untold story inside you. Oh, that's worth repeating, right?
Yeah.
There is no greater agony than bearing an untold story inside you.
It's so hard to, you know that someone suffered so much, and at the same time, you know, her experience with having that pain and being mute gave her the awareness to break away from that and be completely open and share and create something so beautiful that touched so many people's lives, like all of these people that we're talking about. So in a sense, I'm not minimizing anyone's pain or feelings, but the opposite actually. Like, look at how powerful it can be and how much these experiences changed our world. You know, one person experiencing so much pain created so much change and reached so many people.
Yeah.
And like seeing it as kind of like a spectrum of experience, like going from one end to the other and allowing it to open up. Like I'm almost seeing like a light, you know, what are those light things, like those the rainbow, they shoot the rainbow out
like
of
a
it?
prism?
A prism.
Yeah.
It's like a light prism.
Yeah, beautifully put.
Wow.
Yeah, I love it when you get visions. Yeah.
I just wish I had the words.
It's all good.
But it's so cool.
Yeah.
Like and so many people can be touched by somebody's
Yes.
experience. So looking
Well
at
said.
how beautiful can pain be, like, you know, to
Yes.
and allow that to be in yourself. Notice, you know, the transformation that can happen within you from experiencing this, and look at it in that sense as an overall
Right.
beautiful thing.
Right. And Amy, when I love the way that you explained everything, and I like that you explain things from your own experience, which is so refreshing, and it speaks to what I was reading. And what I loved about what she said about silence, it reminds me of thyroid, for example.
I have hypothyroidism, yeah.
So they say that thyroid is a manifestation of not speaking your truth.
Yeah.
And my mother has it, my sister has it, and some people in my family have it. And once I brought it up to my mother and I said, Mom, there's something that you want to say so badly, but you've been silent about, and you're afraid that maybe the world will judge you or something negative will happen so grave that you're willing to keep silent about it, although it's killing you inside.
Yeah.
And actually manifesting as thyroid.
Yeah.
And my mom went silent and started to get like teary about it. And she was on the verge of like sharing that deep secret,
Yeah.
quote unquote, but she didn't. And I love her, I honor her, it's her decision, it's her journey. But wow, how profound when you find out the root of your disease,
Yeah.
right?
It is.
And
really
silence can
profound.
be, you know, that's why they call it a silent killer, right?
Yeah.
Because it's like you haven't spoken to anyone, but guess what? Deep down, you know there's something there that's harboring that you just feel maybe terrified to share or to express.
Yeah. And what it does is it hides everything else about you too. When you hide a really deep thing about yourself, you also, you know, your reactions to things are quieter. Your help towards others is quieter.
Wow.
Your laughter is quieter.
Yeah.
Like everything is affected.
Wow.
Right?
Well said. It's like your life becomes more muted
Yeah.
when you could be living more like with bass.
Yeah.
You know, and greater sound amplification. Yeah, wow. Amazing. It's starting to rain.
Yeah.
So shall we touch on some of the takeaways and then we
Yeah,
can wrap up?
Then wrap up. Yeah.
All right. So if you've been watching till now, thank you. And don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And if you have questions, drop them in the live. But the takeaway here is each of these souls that we gave examples of, they faced profound pain. They chose not to let the pain define them. They transmuted the pain into healing, expression, or service. They didn't bypass the pain. They sat with it. They alchemized it and let it sculpt them into legends. Wow.
So beautiful.
How inspiring, right?
And what I was saying before about seeing the child in you that was, you know, a part of you that hasn't been loved, it's almost like through their expression of their pain, they are allowing that child in them to be loved and seen, which is healing in itself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Beautifully put. Well, Amy, this concludes our journey of pain.
Yeah.
It wasn't that painful, thank goodness. But hopefully it wasn't painful for you folks watching and listening. But if you stayed till now, we appreciate you. Let us know what you'd like to hear about next. It could be any topic. We're thinking of love, we're thinking of jealousy, we're thinking of inner child healing, wounds, childhood wounds, past life traumas, anything that you have in mind that you would like us to discuss.
Yeah, we're open to it.
Yes, drop it in the comments, send us a DM, let us know. And again, thank you for watching. We're really grateful for you listening and sharing this. If you know anyone out there that's dealing with pain, suffering in any way, please share with them Pain episode 1, 2, and then this one, number 3. And we will join you on the next one.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
Thank you for watching. Thank you, TikTok
you.
followers. Thank you, YouTube subscribers, Instagram people, everyone out there. Lots of love to you. Peace out. Namaste.
You're not lost, you're right on time. Walk slow, Jah know.